Hello, everybody. My name is Gary Fowler, and it is great to be here another time for an exciting edition of GSD Presents Silicon Valley AI and Tech. And my name is Gary Fowler, and I'm your host. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've done 17 companies, been involved in 2 unicorns, was on the original management team at Click Software, sold to Salesforce for $1.35 billion, and also Eva.ai, an AI HR tech company that I co-founded with Dr. David Yang. Love artificial intelligence and quantum computing, and believe that today we are in a state of infobesity and that we can make a dent in the universe. I'm also the CEO and co-founder of GSD Venture Studios, a premier AI and quantum venture studio located in Santa Clara, California, although moving to Florida. So anyhow, with that, I'd like to introduce my guest, William Du, a good friend, and been on many panels with him. He's an investor, an entrepreneur. He's from Malaysia. And with that, hey, William, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Hi, Gary. Good to see you again.
Hey, I have a question for you. Ingenious House, is that different than before? I thought there was another name for your company, or is that?
I think, Ingenious is the company that I founded 18 years ago in 2004, early 2004. So over time, I have new companies I co-founded in other business. So sometimes even my wife get confused of what I'm doing, right? So, but Ingenious is always my baby, all right? So that's what I've been running for the last 18 years.
So I got a question for you. How in the world do you go from, Kuala Lumpur to Hertfordshire to school? Did you do it remotely, or did you do it? Were you actually attending classes for your accounting program?
At the time, unfortunately, there's no virtual education yet. All right, otherwise it would have been different. So that was in 1998, 1999, when the Asia financial crisis happens. All right. So what I did is our school is very creative. It's a private college at the time, and they have a program called the 3+0, which I actually finished my accounting degree in Malaysia, but my certificate of or bachelor's in accounting is actually issued by the UK university. All right. But I'm lucky enough to be offered a partial scholarship from the British Council and the university. So I actually went to do my MBA, okay, in year 2000, 99-2000, in the UK, in Hertford Business School. So I spent a year of good time doing my MBA in England. And of course, I started my career in accounting thereafter. Right.
Interesting. And how was it? So you go from Kuala Lumpur to the UK. How was that? How did it? How was the business different in the UK from? I know you were a student at the time, but how was it? Was it different? Was it culturally a lot different? How did it feel?
Of course, in Asia we study all the time. All right, so a lot of classes, a lot of tests, a lot of group work. Okay, but MBA is actually quite relaxed. I have classes Wednesday and Thursday. That's what I always remember. And then I started to look for a part-time job. And after a while, I get to actually wash dishes in the basement of Pizza Express. Okay, and the best part of it is, yes.
I was a security guard when I was doing my undergraduate degree.
But I can't complain because I earn £5 an hour plus full pizza, which I can select from the menu. All right, so yeah, and the price for a full pizza is actually £15 to £22. So I can't complain, right? So, and by the way, all my co-wash dishwashers are doing PhD, master in something, or usually sponsored by the government of China and all. So I can't complain. So I had a good fun doing that.
Well, that sounds like it was a good way to get the right kind of food and make a little pocket money. So you go from that, you're doing, you went to Price Waterhouse, Star Cruises, you really transitioned. How did you go from that time with the PwC doing transfer pricing to doing ingenious and agros. How did you make that the differential, and also amazing solar, I believe?
I think that is a transition between my activities, right? So I started as a trainee accountant, and that is actually to me is very mundane because we always look at historical stuff, right? I still remember I started my audit training in London, right? So I was lucky enough to be rejected by a few hundred accounting firms to end up in a Jewish and Indian-owned accounting firm, right? Right at the Ealing, which is quite far away from the city of London, right? But they give me good training, so I was usually handed a big box of receipts and invoices and all in hard copy. There's no soft copy at the time, so we have to do work. So I spent about a year in doing audit, and then I start applying for a new job again, right? So I applied to PricewaterhouseCoopers in the London Bridge. I still remember one London Bridge, right? Unfortunately, they sent my
London Bridge.
Yes, right. That's the address, right?
Can you have a better address than that? That's
Unfortunately, I didn't get employed by the London office, but instead they sent my resume to the KL office. All right, so I end up back in Kuala Lumpur in 2002. Okay, to start my job in PricewaterhouseCoopers in Malaysia instead. All right. I wouldn't say it was a good move. I actually regretted coming back to KL. But I think it's a different experience because after audit, I get involved in tax, okay? And it's a specialized division called Transfer Pricing Investigation. So we do a lot of forensic accounting and also handling the Inland Revenue Service and all. So, yep, it's a different experience compared to the audit. Okay, and of course, from a small little firm in London, and then we end up in a big fight. At the time, there was still Arthur Andersen, right? So it's a totally different kind of working environment. So very systematic, very process-driven, and everything is every week I look at the timesheet and I start to scratch my head. How do I fill out my timesheet, right? Okay, and of course I get headhunted to join Star Cruise, which at the time was looking for the corporate planning exec. Okay, that's how I learned all my corporate finance stuff, right? So at the time, I'm also involved in structuring the financing of 2 ships, but of course, I'm supporting my immediate boss, right? So we raised actually 900 million US to fund two new cruise ships, okay? And that was really a eye opener for me, okay? I was always approached by bankers. Not just from Malaysia, I got called from Singapore, US, and Hong Kong. Okay, because the company that I work with have a big balance sheet, right? They are the only casino in Malaysia, right? So they have an unfair advantage. So I get to meet Morgan Stanley pitching, HSBC, and all the big names, right? And every month I get a lot of analyst reports from all these big brokers. Okay, wanting to do interview with my boss. Okay, so that's how I get my exposure in investment banking and also significantly change my mindset on what I want to do in the future, right? And frankly, before I actually start my work in Star Cruise, I'm not exposed to the investment banking, right? If I was exposed to investment banking at the time, I will start applying to all the investment bank in the UK instead of the accounting firm in the UK. So I don't have that particular exposure at the time. But anyway, that's where I learned my basic.
William, why did you regret going back? What was the thing that you said you regretted going back? What made you regret it?
All right, first is my wages. Okay, in the UK, despite from a small little firm, I actually earn 3 times more compared to what I get when I joined the PwC in KL. Okay, and number 2, to be frank, my first 2 weeks in PwC is actually at the Income Revenue Office, photocopying records of a company raided by the IRS. Okay, so that goes my first 2 weeks as
So
because I'm the
that was your first exposure.
yes.
Talk about going into the fire, huh?
Yep. And then I realized that I'm the most junior guy in that department because it's a very specialized department. So I was thrown to the income tax office to do all the dispatch boys supposed to do. But that trains my patience, right? So that's my first 2 weeks at work, all right. And also because the it's a very specialized department, right? So our clients are very usually those who do transfer pricing, that they have all kinds of creative way of transferring profit around across the region, right? So yeah, it's a very different experience compared to doing small books or bookkeeping plus audit for clients in the UK, right? But yeah, both the jobs gave me strong fundamentals for me to move on to my career.
How was life in the UK?
Life in UK is actually very fulfilling. Okay, like I mentioned, when I took my MBA, I actually work part time. All right, and even when I work full time in London, I actually work part time in the weekend. So I work in a leather shop selling leather goods, jackets and pants. Okay, so they are looking for a guy to work in the men's department, which is a small corner of the shop because 90% of the walk-in customers are all ladies, right? But they still need a guy to serve a guy. So I was fortunate enough to join that company called Lakeland, right? Which I still remember. Okay, it was very fun actually. And in fact, on my first day, they actually asked, "Wow, you can speak good English. Where are you from?"
Really? That's great. And then did you like selling? Was it fun selling?
Yeah, it was really fun because I don't have much sales experience back then. Okay, being an accounting the graduate, we look at numbers and we look at books, right? So yeah, it's a good experience. So I learned a lot of my selling skill, standing with all the sales personnel in the shop, and I also observe how they also all the body language, right? When customers when they see, oh, this is a bit expensive, or they look for the color scheme because there's so many different colors in the female department especially, right? Men's are pretty straightforward, right? Black, all right, brown, light brown, dark brown, and that's it. Probably 4 colors, that's it, right? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. That's cool. That's cool. Okay, so fast forward, look at some of the things. I know you're doing a lot in sustainability. I know you've got agritech and smart farming solutions. I remember with agros. So what's happening? What's happening in Malaysia right now? What's happening in terms of farming 4.0 and sustainability, and what kind of things solar? What's really hot? If you look at the top 5 things, what are they today that really get your attention with?
Right. I think one of the business that get involved is solar. All right. When the COVID hits, I'm not sure why and how suddenly there's such a big demand for solar. All right. In Malaysia alone, we have probably 5 IPOs already since last year. Okay, and one of the company that I follow is has probably 6 times increase of their market cap. All right, they IPO at 150 million ringgit, and before I know, in less than 3 months, it becomes a $1 billion or billion ringgit dollar company, right? And of course, if the share price come up and down, but it's always, I think it's still 3-4 times above the IPO. And average of all the solar companies that went IPO last year is probably trading 2-3 times above the IPO price. Okay, and of course that also contributed by our government's initiative in the green investment. Right, in Malaysia we have the green investment tax allowance on top of the normal capital allowance. Right, so you can offset your chargeable income for that. Right, so a lot of big corporates actually want to leverage on that. Okay, to offset against their tax payable. And also interesting enough is we also want to reduce reliance on the traditional coal energy. Okay, so there's a lot of initiatives and also incentive given by the Malaysian government to encourage renewable energy, right? So that is one hot sector that investors are pouring money in, and one of the with we are actually proposing to a big corporate Malaysia, okay, who might support us in a big large scale solar farm. Okay, interesting enough, they produce aluminium, right? So before COVID, their market cap is 15 billion ringgit, so that's about 4.5 billion US, right? Just a year later, okay, they are trading at 43 billion ringgit, which is
Wow.
about 11 billion US, right? So they're still doing the same thing. They produce aluminium products, okay. And so when I managed to have chance to meet up the founder, so I asked him, it took you 30 over years from 0 to 15B, but it took you from less than a year from 15B to 43B. And this year they appear number 3 on the Forbes list of Malaysia, right? So it's actually at the right time, at the right place where they are so focused, they are so into this aluminium production, okay, where the sudden surge in solar, because aluminium is one of the key components of holding solar panel, and also the other components, right? They have such demand and order book over the next 5 years, right?
Is
Now,
that
of course,
why their sales went up so much? So what accounted for that incredible increase? That's amazing. Is it
the
because
demand for solar panel worldwide, although they don't produce the solar panel, but every solar panel needs something to hold on, right? And aluminium is actually very strong and light, right, and durable. So this is where they gain all the new contracts signed on just over the last 12 to 18 months, right? So, and of course, urban farming, right? Just 2 months ago, probably this is the third time that we have in Malaysia. There's a place called Cameron Highlands where the temperature is 20ish, mid 20s. All right, so it's where we actually plant a lot of vegetables. All right, and also house one of the most famous bow plantation, right, that produce high quality tea since the British colonial days. All right, so the problem with that is when we have full lockdown, okay, over the last probably we have probably 6 rounds of lockdown already. I lose count already, right? And also the weather. There's one point of time there's the mudslide, okay, which disrupt the traffic and the logistic, okay. So a few times of this disruption in terms of lockdown plus the natural disaster, there's a disruption in the supply of vegetables to the city. Okay, and the result of that, the vegetable price over the last 4 weeks, we can see probably 15 to 20% increase. Okay, in the vegetable price because of the disruption, and therefore for the last 1 year we see a lot of urban farming initiatives. Okay, like ours as well. We started with container farm and now we are building a warehouse farm. Okay, but our construction is actually disrupted by the lockdown. But we hope that by end of this month.
So you're in a lockdown right now, William. So
yes,
correct. What kind of a lockdown? Because I'm in Florida right now, and there's nothing happening here right now. Although COVID with this Delta variant for the unvaccinated is going up. How bad of a lockdown is it now? Is it like before with masks and you're not allowed out of the house, or how big of an impact is it right now?
All right, all the schools are closed. All right, only one person from the household are allowed to go out and buy grocery stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
And we cannot travel more than 10 kilometers from our home. Right. And all officers are working from home. Okay, so you can see there's no dine-in allowed. Restaurants are only allowed to do takeaways. So you can see a lot of restaurants and retailers are closing down. So it has severe impact on the retail industry. All right, F&B they still can do takeaway, right? But if you are selling products and goods, all right, it's basically a full lockdown. You can't even open. Shopping malls are dead. right? So as a lot of hotels and hospitality services as well, right?
Wow.
So yeah, so you can see my hair has grown. I
Yeah,
have not had.
there's going to be a ponytail in the back soon, you know?
Yes, correct.
Now it's we're going down through these challenging times. It's not everywhere right now. We came through it in Florida and California, although
Right.
parts of California is starting to lock down again. But I mean, this has really helped us understand that we got problems in the supply chain, farming 4.0, that we better get them resolved. William, I just read this statistic. By the year 2050, we're going to have to double the food supply on the planet Earth. And of course, with 26% of the pollutants in the air caused by livestock, we got to figure a different way to do it. And we better figure that out shortly. And based on what you're saying in Malaysia, I mean, here we are with another potential food problem again, right?
Right.
The supply chain could be disrupted. So, startups that are out there, investors, we need to focus on that. The population of the planet is going to go from 8 billion to 13 billion by the end of the century. Food is critical. Water is critical. We need to go down through and focus on ways to make our planet a much better place and to be able to sustain ourselves. So with that, William, what are you investing in right now? So I know you love sustainability and solar, but what are you like right now? What are the hot companies that you're looking at and or invested in?
I think based on my personal observation, healthcare is one of the sectors that I'm looking at. Okay, and fortunately, we're engaged as IPO advisor for a stem cell company based in Kuala Lumpur, and because of the exposure to them, I actually learned a lot about healthcare. Right, and I spoke to a group of doctors and advisors that in the medical field as well. Okay, and there's a lot of new innovative medical devices, and also on the skill set, right? So more and more people are looking at their health well-being, okay, not just on the physical side and also on the mental side as well, right? We can see the suicide rate in Malaysia itself has increased. We have a few cases over the last few weeks. It's really bad to see that, because sometimes if you look at the problem they face in terms of the monetary or financial problem, it's actually very small if you look at that. Okay, but to them, it's their whole world already. They lost a job and they couldn't get out of it. All right, so both physical and mental is very, very important, and of course the emotional part of it. So we see a lot of new innovative trend in this healthcare sector. Okay, a lot of doctors do house call now, because people don't feel comfortable going to clinic sometimes.
Oh,
right?
That's great. It's bringing back the old days.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Right. So there's a house call now, and of course, if you still want to go to clinic, they actually have a lot of process as well. Okay, and if you look at how the psychological part of it, the mental health of it, is actually delivered through Zoom, right? You can have a Zoom call with your doctor, your psychologist, and all, without even the need to leave your home, right? There's a lot of people delivering yoga classes online. Okay, some are free, some they just ask you to support. If you want to buy yoga mat, if you want to buy your attire, you can buy from the link there. So they give the class for free, but they make money from selling products. Okay, nutrition plan and all. Okay, I see a lot of coach, fitness coach coming up as well. Right, so these are the new way of delivering. Right,
I agree with you, and and this is the future, right? I have right after this show, I'm going to be on the radio in New York City in about a half an hour or so, actually. But we're going to be talking directly about that. This digital transformation has dramatically impacted our lives, all parts of our lives. Good news is it's really sped a lot of things up, and it's made us to look not outside but inside. What kind of things do we really want? What's important for us? And you're right on target. I mean, look at solar and electric cars and where the market's going. We have to do it, or we're going to destroy the planet. Nothing good's going to happen. with an increased population and not enough food, and temperatures could go up 7 degrees Fahrenheit by the end of the century. I mean, it's just, you're talking about cataclysmic levels. So, folks out there, startups, entrepreneurs, sustainability is really important. Let's make the world a little bit better place. Places like Africa, where there's incredible talent, 1.3 billion people.
Right.
Let's all work together to make this a little bit better, and put our own, as Steve Jobs had said, a dent in the universe. So it's important. So if you're looking at it today, how do you see, so we're talking about these hydroponic, right, container and farming. It's critically important because you can do them anywhere in a warehouse, correct?
Right. You see, like our 3,000 square feet farm that we are building right now, right? We are able to produce 3 tons a month. Okay, and as we scale, our next target is to build a 30,000 square feet farm, right? Every 30,000 square feet is equivalent to 200 acres of land.
Wow,
right?
That's amazing.
Yes, and 30,000 square feet will be able to produce 1 ton a day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you can imagine that how much land is saved. Okay, so we use 30,000 square feet instead of 200 acres. All right, and imagine the manpower required to manage that 200 acres compared to a 30,000 square feet, less than an acre, right? And don't forget, our vertical farm is actually controlled environment, right? It's air conditioned. We have all the SOPs in place, so it's actually the clean room, right? So all our personnel are able to harvest, to plant, to do everything in that 30,000 square feet. Okay,
yeah,
so yeah,
I mean it's gotta happen, William. I mean, this is like not rocket scientists, right? It's like you got a lot more people. Now you've got a lot more buildings that are open, retail, distribution centers because of the pandemic, office buildings, right? So I mean, so the smart folks are out there ought to go down through and think about how do we take this space while it's available at the right kind of price and repurpose it for things like hydroponic farming, for things like container farming, and do it sooner than later. The other thing is having that produce next to the consumers in a city like Kuala Lumpur, not too far away, dramatically reduces the transportation costs.
Of course, and if you look at container farm, we are not selling the container farm to the mass market yet, but it will be viable for those who want to plant themselves. And you see, the container farm is only a 40 a container, right? It's a 40 container, right? So in a lot of homes in Malaysia, they still have land in their backyard and all. It's actually, if they want, we can actually install it at their homes, right? And one container, they are able to produce 200 kg of vegetable per month, which is more than enough to feed a family. Okay, and see, because it's a controlled environment in the container itself, they can plant multiple crops. They can plant herbs, they can plant microgreens and all. Okay, depending on what they need. Okay, but as a commercial farm ourselves, we produce those vegetables or leafy greens that the market wants. Right, so a lot of we have a lot of feedback from our customers. They like the taste, they like the texture of the vegetable, because if you are a vegan, or if you have more vegetarian meal compared versus your meat, okay, you will know the difference by having the vegetables which is produced by organically, okay, and or by the commercial farms that use pesticide or herbicide. Right, you can feel from the texture itself.
Yeah,
right?
great.
And why it's important, because food, right? If you look at plant-based food now, a lot of people have been doing a lot of research on plant-based food, because livestock is one of the biggest polluter of our earth, right? You look at the cattle farm, the sheep farm, and all kind of farming method. Okay, the discharge from the animals actually pollute, okay, the environment, right? So the spending more research on the plant-based food, okay, that has created new recipes, new menu, and of course enhance nutrition, because you know exactly what you're going to produce when you are able to select the right plant to produce the plant-based food, right? So I think that is another trend that a lot of people are going to look at, because when you're stuck at home, you don't exercise that much. If you eat too much of red meat and all, you need you will stay in your body, right? Okay, so you can see there's two ways. If those who are health conscious, they actually become fitter during the pandemic because they exercise, they eat better food, they take care of themselves, right? But there's another group of people who just stick in front of the TV, they eat junk food and and consume more unhealthy stuff, right? So there's two extremes, right? But what we are seeing from our observation, okay, those who actually subscribe to our weekly supply are those health conscious people who will take care of themselves. I think so. So healthcare, food is where back to basic, right? Right. So and technology is actually enabling all these advancement. Okay, we are able to measure the yield and also the ROI of every dollar spent in the farm.
Nah, sounds great. Listen, we're coming up to the top of the hour, and I want the closing thoughts and how can people reach you?
Yep, they can reach me on LinkedIn. Just just type in William Du or Engineer South. They'll be able to reach me, and of course, from there, all my contacts are there. All right, and of course, they can contact you. Right, you are the man.
Yeah, absolutely. Just contact me. William and I have been on a number of panels around the world over the pandemic, and it's great to see you today, William. I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to join my show. For my audience out there, thank you for taking time out of your schedule for GSD Presents Silicon Valley AI and Tech. Stay tuned. At 1 o'clock, I will be in New York City on iHeartRadio talking about cryptocurrency with Zen Sam and my good friend Shahal Khan, serial entrepreneur and investor, and look forward to it. So tune in. 1 o'clock in a half an hour, we'll be on radio in New York. William, thanks for your time. Stay happy, stay healthy, and keep smiling. We're thinking about you. And if you need to contact William, contact me, and I'll be sure to forward your information to him. Take care, everybody. See ya, and stay tuned. We'll be back.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.